fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. I panicked over nothing. We're good. Hi, my name is Allie. Welcome to Mythic Melancholy. This is my April TBR. So here's the thing about this so-called TBR, okay? I'm participating in the Magical Readathon and All the World's a Page, and then like a weekend readathon for the Book Wanderers Book Club, as well as always Gerbitathon. Gerbitathon does not end, it is forever. I made a TBR, but it's not a TBR. I don't know how else to describe this. It's books I might read. I will not, under any circumstances, be reading all of these books in April. Unless I were to like get put on bed rest or something like that, there's just absolutely no way. So here's how this is going to work. There are some books that I need to read in April, and we'll go over those first. And then I'm just gonna run you quick through all of the things that I'm interested in reading. And I would love it if you would comment down below if there are ones you want me to prioritize. Now, as far as Magical Readathon and All the World's a Page goes, you're not going to get a lot of information from me on them until my wrap up, because how I'm doing it this year, and part of this idea came from Hannah from Letta, and by the way, not to take credit for her stuff, but I basically wrote out all of the prompts for Magical Readathon, and then I wrote out all of the prompts for All the World's a Page, which All the World's a Page is only a week, so that's later on in the month. But I wrote out all the prompts for them, and I just fit books I was interested in reading into those prompts. And come the end of the month, for Magical Readathon, we will see what career options I have for what prompts I have completed. And for All the World's a Page, we will see by what prompts I completed what the absolute disaster of a play I've created is. I think it's going to be really fun, as well as very messy. Let's get into the books that I have to read in April. I do have at least two books that are going to be due for review in April, and then I have 2 books that are due for review in May, so I would really like to get all of those read in April. The first of which being Last Girls on Earth, which is a indie written or self-pub. I don't remember specifically if this is indie or self-pub, but this is indie in general, dystopian about the last girls on Earth. I don't remember exactly the plot specifications of this one, but I'll have a review for it up on my Instagram on the 8th. So if you're interested in that, you can see that there. Then on the 14th, I have a review due for A Bargain of Blood and Gold, which is the first in a series. And this is a male-male vampire fantasy romance thing, and like forbidden romance. It sounds really interesting. I'm a little wary about it just because I have tried to read some things along this vein before that didn't click for me, but I'm really hoping this does. I'm really excited to give it a go, to give it a chance. The cover is obviously stunning, so we will see if this does it for me, because I've been looking for something in this kind of vampire hunter vein for a while, and a lot of stuff just isn't doing it for whatever it is I'm looking for. Then I have Teacher of the Year, which is one I'll be doing a review for in May. This is a male-male I think it's a teacher and a single dad romance. It sounds so cute. I'm so excited for this one. I'm so excited for this one. I'm so glad that I got a chance to read this one, and I can't wait. This one I actually got a physical arc of, which I find to be really exciting, and that is The Secret Summer Promise by Kaya Brown. This comes out in May as well, and I'll have a review for it up in May. This follows a disabled girl during her summer, and she is chronically ill, disabled, and I love reading disability rep, chronic illness rep, as someone who is chronically ill, can't even function at standard traditional jobs. You know, it's just nice to see representation for disabled people where it's not basically just inspiration porn, which I get really sick of because a lot of disability representation is they powered through, they overcame their disability. And it's like, I'm sorry, bitch, that is great for them if they were able to do that, but that is not everybody's reality, and that is not the standard you should hold every single disabled person to. So I'm excited to see what this is like. This follows a bi-disabled girl who is trying to fall out of love with her best friend over the summer, and it sounds cute. It sounds like the perfect read for May, or, well, I'll be reading it in April, but it sounds like the perfect read for this spring, summer, just getting into a lighter season, away from the dingy sadness of winter, eventually. Then, as with every single month, I will be reading the Lunar Library Book Club pick. If you want to get your hands on this one, it's one I'm really excited for. I do know what it is already, and I think it's going to be good. It's also fairly short, and I'm hyped to read this one. It's actually one that I have had my eye on for a while, but I think a lot of people don't particularly know about. So if you want to get your hands on it, I'll leave the link in the comments to get it from Waypoint, but this is probably the one of all the months so far that I'm most excited for. Then I'll be reading So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, which actually I still need to read the third. I haven't done that yet. We've pushed all of the live show into one just because all these books are very similar. There's more to talk about if we've read them all, and we can kind of discuss it as a whole with these short books that have very similar vibes throughout. So we're going to put it all into a live show, I believe at the end of May, beginning of June, somewhere in there. And I need to catch up on the Hitchhiker's Guide books now. Then I have my jar picks, which I actually already pulled again this month ahead of time because I was just trying to get everything set for my TBR. And from my Waypoint jar, I pulled Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows, which I'm sure Hannah will be excited for because it's one that I have TBR'd before. I've been meaning to get to for a really long time, and it just hasn't happened. But now it was pulled from the jar, and it is what I am supposed to prioritize this month. This one is about a Punjabi community of older women who start to open up, start to take control of their lives, find themselves, talk about a lot of things. And then it sounds like there is a suspicious death that they end up looking into, and I'm not really sure exactly what to expect here. I know that everyone who I've seen read it has really loved it. Hannah is always recommending this one, and I'm really intrigued, but also a little wary because it's not something I think I would normally like pick up and read. But that again fits into my theme of I want to read things that aren't what I would normally pick up this year, so this is perfect. The other one I pulled from that jar was The Tower at the End of Time, which this is hilarious for one specific reason. And that is, I pulled this from my Waypoint jar for this month, and I did that before this arrived in the mail, which was in my Waypoint book box. So I decided that it's obviously fate, and I'm going to read the second one, which I read the first one last year. It was really good. So I'm going to read the second one that I pulled from my jar, and I'm going to read the third one that just came in the mail, because obviously the world wants me to continue my series, and the world would be correct in that is the thing that I need to do. This is a really fun, really quick middle grade series about basically this like magic house. And I think the house itself can travel around. There was a whole curse and things going on in the first one. I think this second one has a magic competition. I don't know anything about this third one, but the fact that it's the bookshop at the back of Beyond, it's a bookshop. So obviously that's going to be fantastic. Then I pulled a book from my 12 Books, 12 Friends jar, and I got A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness for this month. This is another middle grade. There's a lot of middle grades happening this month. This one is sad. That's all I know about it. I don't know much else. I think the child has a mom who has cancer, and then I don't know if the monster in this is real or if it's like a metaphor, but I know that this is supposed to be incredibly sad. So apparently I'm going to be in my feelings, feeling things, emotions this month with this one. I've also never seen the movie, which this is the movie cover, and it literally has the actors on it. And now that apparently Liam Neeson is in the movie. So maybe I'll watch the movie after I read this. Then I have 2 books that are for a specific vlog. Can't tell you about them. That's all you get to know until the end of the month. Let's move on to the stack of I want to read this. I shoved it into some random prompts. I won't read all of these. Oh, okay, I was concerned. That said 1 minute. It says 7 hours and 1 minute. I thought I only had 1 minute left to film, and I was like, dude, there's a 256 gigabyte card in this camera. It's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. I panicked over nothing. We're good. Hopefully I did just fuck up my angle a whole bunch. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Anyway, let's bust through all these physical books that I picked up and said, hey, I might want to read that. I'll fit that into a prompt. I won't read all of these, but again, if there's any of these you want me to prioritize, let me know, and I will make an attempt to do so. First, I have The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield, which sounds fantastic. Not a huge fan of the cover, especially this specific edition, because it's just so shiny. But this is one that we're supposed to read in the Book Wanderers Discord that we haven't gotten to yet. And it is about an author who wrote a gothic novel and now is in seclusion, but is ready to tell her story to this woman who then comes and stays. I feel like I've heard a similar plot somewhere else. I think sometimes that's done a lot, where like somebody does something and then they're finally ready to speak about it, and so the book is kind of written that way. This one is like a story within a story, and it sounds really fascinating. I'm excited to get to it, if I get to it. I have Soulmates by Susan Lee, which is a really short Korean romance about a woman and her childhood best friend is now a K-drama star. It just sounds like a really fun time to fit the spring season and to give me spring vibes, which I need because there's still feet of snow to melt in my yard. Then I have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This one follows a girl who inherits a whole bunch of money and a fancy house, but the stipulation is she has to go live in this house. A bunch of the other family members live in this house. She didn't know anything about this inheritance, and they are all pissed that she's getting this inheritance. So then things will go down. I've heard this first one is really good, and the sequels are not so good. So I may read this as a standalone, and to never pick up the sequels. We'll see how I feel about it. This is one I've wanted to get to for a while, and that is Kill the Farm Boy by Delilah S. Dawson and Kevin Hearn. This is a fantasy parody novel about the Chosen One trope, and there's also a goat. That's all I needed to know. It sounds fun, and sometimes I like fun. Then I have Lobizona by Romina Garber. This is an Argentinian werewolf tale. I haven't read a werewolf book in a really long time, and so I'm really interested to get to this one as well. I have an entire middle grade trilogy that just arrived in the mail, and that is The Haunting of Evelyn Jones, The Bewitching of Evelyn Jones, and The Vanishing of Evelyn Jones. I haven't read any of these yet, but they've been recommended to me. I've been told that I should really enjoy them, and spooky, ghosty middle grades is just a vibe I've been wanting more of lately, and I didn't really have any of. So I got all of them. They're short, and I kind of just want to read all of them this month if I have time. This was the other book that arrived from my most recent Waypoint subscription box, which is Daddy by Emma Cline. Don't know anything about this, but I want to start getting to my Waypoint books sooner rather than later, especially since I have a whole backlog of them. So this is getting stuck on this TBR. Plus I'm interested. I don't think I've ever read anything by Emma Cline, author of The Girls, which I've heard a lot of people really love. And this is another one that it's not too long either. Then we have a translated novel that just looks really sweet and cute, and that is Sweet Bean Paste by Durian Sukegawa. This is another one we're supposed to buddy read in the Book Wanderers Discord over the spring at some point, and I'm hoping to get to it here in April. I really like this cover. It's also very matte feeling. It has a very different feeling cover, and it's a little book. Big text, like it's kind of small. And this is another one I don't remember specifically what it's about, but I just have been wanting to read more translated fiction, and so I've seen this one around a lot, and I'm hoping it's a good time. This one is actually an ARC I want a copy of, and this doesn't come out until June, but I'm gonna TBR it here because I would like to get to it before June. So that is The Archive Undying by Emma Mieko Candon. This is a brutal police state world. It's a sci-fi, there's mechas, there's AIs. The cover really interests me. I don't know what it is about this one that drew me to it, but I entered the giveaway for it and I won the ARC of it, so I really want to get to it before it comes out. Then I have Empire of Wild by Sherry Dimmoline. This is one I've wanted to get to for a while. A lot of these are fairly short books, which is nice to see that I didn't pick up a whole bunch of super chunky books. This is an Indigenous thriller that I have just heard such good things about, and I would really like to get to it sometime over the spring or summer this year. Then I have The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. This is one that I'm not sure if it's going to be good or not, but it's a gothic YA sorority story, and it's very pretty and very shiny ravens on the cover, although I like to imagine they're crows, because crows are cooler than ravens. No offense to ravens. Then I have one that has a very dirty cover for some reason, and that is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. It's probably because this one got moved around a whole bunch when I moved and then stored and stuff, but I need to wipe this cover off. This is a YA fantasy that I have heard really, 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 really good things about. Nico from Pixie and Pens adores this more than I think I've seen anyone adore a book in a very long time, and that made me want to get to it, even though I've had it sitting on my shelf since I think it came out and haven't gotten to it. I want to prioritize it now because they love it so much, and I just need to know why. Then I have got The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chakshi. Somehow I've never read anything by Roshani Chakshi, even though I am interested in The Gilded Wolves, although heard really, really mixed things about that series. And I think I own the first Aru Shah, but I haven't read anything by them yet. And I saw Katie Robert was really raving about this one. This is one that I got in a Book of the Month box, and it sounds very kind of lyrical, fairy tale-esque, and sometimes I could just go for those kind of books. So I'm interested to see if I like this one. Okay, lastly, I have The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley, which is another Indigenous mystery fantasy. I don't know if this one has fantasy elements or not in it. I don't remember specifically. But this is one that people adore, and it looks good. The cover is gorgeous, and there's a lot of reads here that are ones that I saw when I was looking through my physical books, and I'm like, you know what? I've been meaning to get to that forever. Maybe I can get to it in April. We'll see. So that is it. That is the chaotic disaster of a mood read TBR, basically. A giant stack of books that I may or may not get to, and then there's actually also some books on my Kindle that I would like to read as well, but I didn't want to go and add those and go through and add those to this list, but you know, this is a, hey, I kind of want to read these things TBR. I hope you enjoyed me not telling you anything about books and just holding them up and being like, this is a thing. Like the video if you liked it for some reason. Comment, again, if there's any of these reads I should prioritize, if you've read any of these, if you think any of these books suck and I don't even need to bother with them. I just want to know your opinions, what your thoughts are. And yeah, as always, I will see you in the next one. Subscribe if you want to see more of my face.